Have you ever wondered why a serpent devouring its own tail appears in the margins of ancient manuscripts, carved into the stones of forgotten temples, and hidden within the cryptic diagrams of alchemists and mystics? What secret could be so profound, so universal, that it echoes through the wisdom of Egypt, Greece, India, and beyond, always in the form of a serpent, eternally circling, eternally consuming itself? Tonight, we step beyond the veil of ordinary understanding and into the heart of one of the world's oldest and most enigmatic symbols, the Ouroboros. This is not just a symbol, it is a living riddle, a paradox that has haunted the dreams of sages and seekers for thousands of years. The Ouroboros is the serpent that eats its own tail, forming a perfect circle. But what does it truly mean? Is it a warning, a promise, a map, or a mirror? Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the threshold of an ancient temple. The air is thick with incense and mystery. On the wall before you, a serpent coils into a circle, its jaws locked around its own tail. The priests whisper that this is the secret of immortality, the key to the universe, the answer to the question that cannot be spoken. But what is the question, and what is the answer? In this journey, we will not settle for surface explanations or textbook definitions. We will dive deep into the river of time, tracing the Ouroboros from its earliest appearances in the sands of Egypt, through the labyrinthine philosophies of Greece, to its hidden meanings in alchemy, Gnosticism, and modern esoteric thought. We will unravel the paradoxes, decode the metaphors, and, most importantly, discover how the wisdom of the Ouroboros can transform your own spiritual path. Are you ready to see with new eyes, to think in circles instead of lines, and to awaken the ancient serpent within? Then let us begin the journey into the heart of the Ouroboros, where endings become beginnings, and the greatest secrets are hidden in plain sight. To truly grasp the power of the Ouroboros, we must first travel back through the corridors of history, where myth and reality intertwine, and symbols are the language of the soul. The Ouroboros is not the invention of a single culture or era. It is a primordial image, surfacing again and again wherever humans have sought to understand the mysteries of existence. The earliest known depiction of the Ouroboros slithers out of ancient Egypt, inscribed on the walls of the tomb of Tutankhamun, and in the enigmatic funerary text known as the enigmatic Book of the Netherworld. Here, the serpent encircles the sun god Ra, symbolizing the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The Egyptians saw time not as a straight line, but as a circle, a wheel turning through eternity, where every ending is a new beginning. The Ouroboros was their way of expressing the eternal return, the cosmic dance of creation and destruction. From Egypt, the serpent slithered into the philosophies of ancient Greece. The philosopher Heraclitus, who famously declared that everything flows, saw the world as a process of perpetual transformation. The Ouroboros became a symbol of unity in opposites, the reconciliation of life and death, creation and annihilation. In the words of the Greek magical papyri, the Ouroboros is the all, one, and the same, a living paradox that defies the logic of the rational mind. But the Ouroboros did not stop there. It found new life in the secretive world of alchemy, where it became the emblem of the magnum opus, the great work. Alchemists saw the Ouroboros as the key to transmutation, the process by which base matter is refined into gold, and the soul is purified through suffering and transformation. The serpent devouring its own tail was the symbol of the alchemist's journey, the endless cycle of dissolution and coagulation, death and resurrection, until the self is reborn as something immortal. In the mystical traditions of India, the serpent appears as Kundalini, the coiled energy at the base of the spine, waiting to awaken and ascend through the chakras. In Norse mythology, the Midgard serpent encircles the world, biting its own tail and holding the cosmos together. In Gnostic texts, the Ouroboros is the boundary of the world, the guardian of hidden knowledge, and the symbol of the soul's journey through the cycles of incarnation. What is it about this image, a serpent eating its own tail, that speaks so powerfully to the human spirit? Perhaps it is because the Ouroboros is more than a symbol. It is a mirror reflecting the deepest truths of existence. It is the cycle of the seasons, the phases of the moon, the rhythm of breath, the beating of the heart. It is the story of every life, every civilization, every universe, birth, growth, decay, and renewal. Throughout history, the Ouroboros has been a guide for those who seek wisdom beyond the surface of things. It whispers that the end is never truly the end, that destruction is the prelude to creation, and that the path to enlightenment is not a straight road, but a spiral, ever returning, ever ascending. As we move forward, we will begin to unravel the layers of meaning encoded in this ancient serpent. We will see how the Ouroboros is not just a relic of the past, but a living symbol with the power to transform our understanding of ourselves and the world. To decode the Ouroboros is to step into a labyrinth of meaning, where every turn reveals a new layer of truth. At first glance, the image is simple: a serpent, curved into a perfect circle, its mouth locked around its own tail. But look closer, and you will see that this is no ordinary snake. It is a living paradox, a creature that is both devourer and devoured, creator and destroyer, beginning and end. The circle itself is the first key. In every mystical tradition, the circle is the symbol of wholeness, unity, and infinity. It has no beginning and no end, no top and no bottom. It is the shape of the sun, the moon, the planets, and the cycles that govern all life. The Ouroboros, by forming itself into a circle, becomes the embodiment of eternity, a reminder that all things are connected and that nothing is ever truly lost. But why a serpent? In the ancient world, the serpent was a creature of mystery and power. It sheds its skin, seemingly reborn from its own body, and moves silently between the worlds of earth and shadow. The serpent is the guardian of secrets, the keeper of forbidden knowledge. In the Garden of Eden, it is the serpent who offers the fruit of wisdom, tempting humanity to awaken from innocence into self-awareness. In the temples of Egypt, the serpent is the protector of the pharaoh, the symbol of divine authority. The act of devouring its own tail is the heart of the mystery. On one level, it is a symbol of self-sufficiency. The Ouroboros needs nothing outside itself to survive. It is the ultimate image of independence, of a being that is whole and complete. But on a deeper level, it is a symbol of self-destruction and self-renewal. The Ouroboros consumes itself, but in doing so, it is constantly reborn. It is the cycle of life and death, the endless process of transformation that lies at the heart of all existence. Think of the seasons. Spring gives way to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter, and winter to spring again. Each phase contains the seeds of the next, and the cycle never truly ends. The Ouroboros is this cycle made visible, a reminder that every ending is a new beginning, and that destruction is not the opposite of creation, but its partner. In alchemy, the Ouroboros is the symbol of the magnum opus, the great work of spiritual transformation. The alchemist seeks to dissolve the self, to break down the ego and the illusions of separateness, so that something new and pure can be born. The process is painful, even terrifying, but it is necessary for true growth. The Ouroboros teaches that we must be willing to let go of what we are, to consume our own limitations, if we wish to become something greater. This is not just a metaphor for spiritual seekers. It is a law of nature. The stars themselves are born from the ashes of dying suns. Forests grow from the decay of fallen trees. Even our own bodies are constantly dying and renewing. Every cell a miniature Ouroboros, devouring and recreating itself in an endless dance. The Ouroboros is the secret at the heart of all things, that life feeds on itself, that death is not an end but a transformation, and that the universe is a living, breathing circle of becoming. Yet, the Ouroboros is not content to rest in the realm of simple cycles. Its meaning deepens as we peer into the shadows it casts across the landscape of the soul. The serpent's circle is not just a symbol of time or nature. It is a map of consciousness itself, a guide for those who seek to awaken from the dream of separation. Consider the paradox at the heart of the Ouroboros. It is both the eater and the eaten, the subject and the object, the question and the answer. In this way, it mirrors the greatest mysteries of existence. Who are we, if not both the observer and the observed? Where does the self end and the world begin? The Ouroboros invites us to contemplate the illusion of duality, the belief that we are separate from the universe, from each other, from the divine. In the teachings of Hermeticism, the phrase "as above, so below, as within, so without," echoes the wisdom of the Ouroboros. The serpent's circle is a reminder that the microcosm and the macrocosm are reflections of one another. The cycles of the cosmos are mirrored in the cycles of our own lives, our thoughts, our emotions. The boundaries we draw between self and other, life and death, beginning and end, are ultimately illusions, lines drawn in the sand by a mind that fears the unknown. The Ouroboros also speaks to the process of individuation, a concept explored by the psychologist Carl Jung. Jung saw the Ouroboros as a symbol of the integration of opposites, the union of conscious and unconscious, light and shadow, masculine and feminine. To become whole, we must embrace all parts of ourselves, even those we fear or reject. The serpent's act of consuming itself is a metaphor for this inner alchemy, the process by which we digest our own darkness and transform it into wisdom. But the Ouroboros is not only a symbol of unity and wholeness, it is also a warning, a reminder of the dangers of stagnation and self-absorption. If the serpent never releases its tail, if it becomes trapped in its own circle, it risks suffocation, endless repetition, and spiritual death. The lesson here is subtle but profound. True transformation requires both dissolution and renewal, both letting go and moving forward. The circle must be dynamic, not static, a spiral that ascends rather than a loop that imprisons. In some esoteric traditions, the Ouroboros is depicted with half its body dark and half its body light, echoing the yin-yang of Taoist philosophy. This duality within unity is the secret of balance. Light cannot exist without shadow, joy without sorrow, life without death. The Ouroboros teaches us to embrace the totality of experience, to find harmony in the dance of opposites. There is also a hidden message in the serpent's endless hunger. The Ouroboros is never satisfied, always consuming, always becoming. This is the engine of evolution, the drive that propels the universe toward greater complexity and consciousness. In our own lives, this hunger manifests as curiosity, creativity, the desire to grow and transcend our limitations. The serpent whispers that we are not meant to remain the same, but to continually shed our skins, to die and be reborn, again and again. And so, the Ouroboros is not just a symbol to be admired from afar. It is an invitation, a call to participate in the great work of transformation, to become the alchemist of your own soul. It asks you to look within, to face your own cycles of creation and destruction, and to find the courage to let go of what no longer serves you. In the next section, we will explore how you can apply the wisdom of the Ouroboros in your own life, turning ancient symbolism into practical transformation. The wisdom of the Ouroboros is not meant to remain locked away in ancient texts or hidden within the cryptic language of mystics. It is a living teaching, one that can be woven into the fabric of your daily life, transforming the way you see yourself and the world around you. Begin by observing the cycles that shape your existence. Notice the rhythms of your breath, the beating of your heart, the ebb and flow of your thoughts and emotions. Just as the Ouroboros circles endlessly, so too do you move through patterns of growth, decay, and renewal. When you feel trapped in a loop, repeating the same mistakes, reliving old wounds, or clinging to habits that no longer serve you, remember the serpent. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that is ready to be released? What part of me is longing to be transformed? A powerful exercise inspired by the Ouroboros is the practice of conscious release and renewal. Set aside a quiet moment each day to reflect on what you are ready to let go of. This could be a limiting belief, a toxic relationship, a fear, or even a cherished identity that has outlived its purpose. Visualize the Ouroboros within you, devouring what is no longer needed, breaking it down so that new energy can emerge. As you exhale, imagine releasing the old. As you inhale, welcome the new. This simple ritual can help you align with the natural cycles of transformation, making space for growth and healing. The Ouroboros also teaches the importance of integration. In your journey of self-discovery, do not reject or suppress the parts of yourself that seem dark, painful, or unwanted. Instead, approach them with curiosity and compassion. Like the serpent consuming its own tail, seek to understand and digest your shadows, transforming them into sources of wisdom and strength. Journaling, meditation, and shadow work are powerful tools for this process. Ask yourself, what lessons are hidden in my struggles? How can I use my pain as fuel for growth? Another practical application is to embrace the spiral rather than the circle. Life is not about returning to the same place over and over, but about ascending to new levels of understanding and being. When you find yourself facing familiar challenges, look for the deeper lesson. How have you changed since the last time? What new insights can you bring to the situation? The Ouroboros reminds us that every cycle is an opportunity for evolution, not just repetition. Finally, cultivate a sense of wonder and reverence for the interconnectedness of all things. The Ouroboros is a symbol of unity, a reminder that you are both a unique individual and an inseparable part of the greater whole. Practice gratitude for the cycles of nature, the turning of the seasons, the dance of birth and death. Let this awareness inspire you to live with greater presence, purpose, and compassion. Remember, the path of transformation is not always easy. There will be moments of fear, resistance, and uncertainty. But the Ouroboros assures you that every ending is a new beginning, and that the courage to let go is the key to true renewal. Trust in the wisdom of the serpent, and allow yourself to be reborn again and again into the fullness of your being. As we draw our journey to a close, let us pause and reflect on the ancient wisdom coiled within the Ouroboros. This enigmatic serpent, forever devouring its own tail, is more than a symbol etched in stone or painted on parchment. It is a living mystery, a guide for those who seek to understand the cycles of existence and the alchemy of the soul. We have seen how the Ouroboros weaves through the tapestry of history, whispering its secrets to pharaohs, philosophers, alchemists, and mystics. We have unraveled its paradoxes, the unity of opposites, the necessity of both destruction and creation, the invitation to embrace our shadows and our light. We have learned that the Ouroboros is not a static emblem, but a dynamic force, a spiral of transformation that calls us to shed our old skins and awaken to new possibilities. Most importantly, we have discovered that the wisdom of the Ouroboros is not reserved for the chosen few or the distant past. It is available to each of us, here and now, in the cycles of our breath, the patterns of our thoughts, and the choices we make each day. By honoring the rhythms of release and renewal, by integrating all aspects of ourselves, and by seeing life as an ever-ascending spiral, we can unlock the power of the Ouroboros within. So, I invite you to carry this symbol with you, not just as an image, but as a living practice. When you encounter endings, remember that they are also beginnings. When you face your own darkness, know that it holds the seeds of light. And when you feel lost in the cycles of life, trust that you are part of a greater wholeness, a circle that is always turning, always becoming. If this journey has sparked something within you, I encourage you to reflect on the cycles in your own life. Try the practices we discussed, and share your experiences in the comments below. What have you learned from your own moments of release and renewal? How has the wisdom of the Ouroboros appeared in your story? Thank you for walking this path with me. Until our next exploration, may you find courage in transformation, wisdom in the cycles, and wonder in the eternal dance of the serpent.